I'm here at Startupfest 2025, and I'm speaking with Simran Kanda, the GM of Elantech, a grassroots startup ecosystem builder. We talk about a number of topics. Obviously, we talk about AI and how it's moved beyond just pure AI into industry-specific applications. But we also talk about something I found particularly fascinating, founder loneliness, and how that human connection is the thing that builds up ecosystems. So have a listen and tell me what you think about how she's trying to solve for that.
Simran, thank you for joining us. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do with your time?
Simran, so I'm General Manager of Elantech. Apart from building the ecosystems in Montreal, ground up, I think I have been doing a lot in terms of human psychology, trying to understand. And it's interesting, like even if you put it in a microcosm of startup ecosystem, it applies everywhere.
Yes.
It applies in growth marketing strategy. It applies in like when you're serving everyone. So it's almost like so I spend a lot of time just thinking that how do I make people vent and talk instead of asking them what they need
Right.
to create what could be created.
Got
So I would say this is what I've been doing a lot.
And for those who don't know, what is Elantech?
Elantech has been a grassroots organization since 17 years. Right now, we have few arms. So we have our own programs for founders only. And those are specifically in the gaps that we found. One is for repeat founders who are still figuring out their next step. Older founders above 30. And a lot of founders who are immigrants and newcomers in Montreal.
Right.
So that's kind of like a
That's
target.
good. I fit two of the three. I
Yes,
don't know what
exactly.
to do, and I need a halfway house, really. And yeah, that's cool.
You
And
fit
immigrant
all
friends.
three, new to Montreal too.
I guess that's true. Immigrant to Montreal? Yeah, that's stretching it. And so because you're so embedded in the ecosystem, what are you seeing? Like, that's interesting, both from a repeat founder figuring out what's next and sort of a new first-time founder. Are you seeing, what are patterns that you're seeing? Obviously, there's like everyone's doing AI, all the things.
Yeah.
But are you seeing something that you find is unique to this ecosystem in terms of the kinds of companies that people are interested in building or are building?
I think there was a trend where there is a lot of AI. Right now, I feel like there is still that, but
Yes.
people are figuring out way to do other stuff. So there is new trends around manufacturing that's coming. People are trying to figure out even like low tech, high tech type of stuff apart from AI. Seems to be a bit of saturation around AI. So it seems like some people are interested to find what else is happening. So there is those regards. There is another thing that's happening, which is like founders are taking things in their own hands more right now. So, for example, I was just having a conversation with someone whose SaaS solution is for mid-market companies. And one of the things that he pointed out is like, it's this ecosystem is amazing for me to find startups, but also corporates. But where do I find those mid-market people?
Oh, interesting.
And because he doesn't have that solution, like the trend now is almost like we don't have something, let's just like build a solution around it.
Right.
So
like a
he's
services company in a sense.
kind of like a community activity, which not only helps him, but can also help other founders. So that trend is happening a lot where people see gaps, founders are coming on the ground, trying to do something that was supposed to be a solution for themselves, but is becoming solution for other founders.
Oh, I see, the other way around.
Yeah.
They're solving their own itch.
Exactly.
And then finding who wants that itch solved.
Exactly.
So there's still a product market fit aspect to it, but it's scalabler because of AI maybe? Or
Yeah, exactly. That's what is good thing, because before people would not think like maybe I can do my own activities, my own events, because it felt so much. And now it's almost like because of AI, you could be multi-purpose army altogether.
Right.
And I think that's making things a bit easier for some people to take things in their own hands.
So that's interesting about the point they made about SMEs. Like they're probably technically easier to sell to, because if you're selling to a big corporation, it takes a really long time and there's lots of committees. And SMEs, depending on how S or M or E it is, it could be easier. But because there's so much, like the typical things, there's a lot more of them. So where do you find them? And so you're saying that it's still an itch to scratch? Like how do you find a collection of problems to solve?
I think the problem is not finding, the problem is building a trust with them.
I see.
So for example, startups, they're still in the exploration stage. So they're okay to waste a bit of their time here and there. Corporations, they're way too structured right now. They're still okay to waste a bit of their time here and there. Things go slow, but they're okay to waste their time.
Right.
SMEs, they're at that sweet spot where they're not exploring anymore. They know what they're doing,
Right.
but they also don't have time to waste.
Right.
So I think it's not that we cannot find them. It's more of like we don't think enough that how do we bring value to them if we bring them to the startup world as well. We think from one perspective, which is like, yes, it's going to be good for startups to have potential clientele. It's going to be good for them to get engaged. But like they will come once, twice, thrice, but then they will not because they have to figure out a way to make best use of their time.
Yeah.
So I would say the problem is that.
Going back to this particular ecosystem, what do you, because you're like so on the ground with these companies and you see so many of them, are you finding that, I mean, some of the patterns you mentioned seem to be just general patterns. It's just like, I can be a solopreneur and hit scale faster, bigger without needing a big team. I can do lots of stuff. Are you seeing, you did say something about manufacturing when you first started. Are you seeing, given that we're here, are you seeing a lot of people gravitating towards a particular kind of problem or a particular kind of vertical or a particular kind of technology because you've got Mila here or anything like that?
I would say like it's hard for me to say that part as of now because it's not like there is a one sector where everyone is gravitating.
Yeah.
I think what's happening is people are following the trends where the money is coming.
Okay.
So manufacturing, or let's say, is the one industry where there is more investment to be done. That's why there's an aspect of that.
Is that unusual or is that typical for?
It's typical in the sense, but like I don't think there is something very, very specific where people are gravitating too much. I think it's just becoming a bit maturer in regards to AI, and people are finding more industry-specific solutions around it, which was supposed to be more generic on a vectors case. And now I'm seeing more of those solutions applied into like manufacturing or health or this or that. I think that's happening more.
And with Elantech itself, as it supports entrepreneurs, those three kind of groups of humans, what are you seeing with the state of the union, with the state of technology, the state of geopolitics and all that other stuff? Are you having to iterate your offering because to kind of bend along with the universe bending? Like how are you changing what you're doing given all of that?
It's a very philosophical answer, but one thing that I'm observing, there is in founders, there is an epidemic of loneliness right now.
Okay.
There is a lot of support. There is a lot of programs. There is a lot of founders. But the common theme is founders are feeling more lonelier than usual.
So do you think that's like, I can build an AI startup by myself, but I'm by myself? Is that
mix
it?
Of that?
Okay.
And mix of like not having enough interactions with people who are in the same boat as you.
Oh.
It's strange, but it's the case. And that's very interesting for me to see as well, that like in the ecosystem, which is so vibrant and everywhere, everything is happening, like why are founders feeling so lonely? But that is kind of like the reality, that founders are feeling really lonely.
So are they coming out to stuff and feeling lonely, or are they staying at home in their basements and coding away?
Have you been like kind of like in a state that you go to parties, but you feel like you don't belong there?
That's every party. So yeah, pretty much.
But if you go somewhere where you feel belong, it's almost like you have everyone, you still feel empty and you still feel lonely.
So again, does that?
They are coming out.
Does that make you think about what you're offering?
Yeah.
And how do you think you may not have the answer, but how do you think you solve with Elantech that problem?
So last 6 months, we shifted things a lot because of this specific problem of loneliness. So the way we have been doing stuff, it looks very strange at first because people think they are just events.
Right.
So we started doing a bit unconventional stuff that kind of creates shatter of a professional mass that these founders have. So from making them do sports to make them come to picnics, to also just peer-to-peer type of events. And I'll give you maybe like a go through around it. So imagine like you have 20 founders.
Yeah.
They come, they're all like shrunk because they're expecting that they have to be all professional and network and everything again. And then the first question you ask them is something that is completely random about their life and vulnerability, which is a shock to their system. And it takes away the masks right away. But then you have to create that safe space around the room in which they know that they can be just themselves. There is no cameras, there are no stakeholders, there are no service providers, there is nothing. And then we see the magic that happens by the end of the room. The same people who came shrunk now basically went and shared and talked and helped each other.
I see.
And it was a fast help and more credible help in the sense that, hey, I have gone through this person helped me, or this founder helped me, this accelerator helped me, this incubator helped me. And for other founders to hear the sources that has been directly helpful to them, we have seen the trend. So over the last 6 months, we have been doing this monthly in different regards to activity, and we have seen friendships being created out of it.
So do the same people keep coming back, or are you like
Yeah.
spinning up new ones all the time? And
We have almost like half of the same people and half of new people. So it
Okay.
has been like increasing, and that's where our metrics also comes. Like, do they come back?
right.
And not only do they
If
come
they don't come
back,
back, do you like have a check-in system or robot that checks to make sure
you
they're
know, the
okay?
strange thing
Yeah.
is like the people who have been coming, if they don't come,
Yeah.
it's like usually events you have 50% show up.
Okay.
For us, we have 90% show up.
Wow.
And the 10% show up, they email us and tell us like this emergency happened and that's why I'm not able to.
Oh, so they wanted to go, but
They
something
wanted
came.
to go.
I
And
see.
it's also because they created an accountability not with us, with other founders.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like we're part of this together as a peer group. So if one of us don't show up, then you're breaking the recipe. So they have been showing up more and more and more. And now they have started their own internal peer groups. Like last time we did something with the repeat founders and they just created like devil's advocate group between themselves.
Right.
It's like we're trying to find new ideas. Let's break ideas.
Yeah.
So when I say like this is happening, but as leaders of the ecosystem or Elantech specifically, all we had to do was to bring right people in the room, create a right space, and for few times make them feel they are in a space where they don't have to play a game anymore.
So how do you? I get two sides of the same coin question. Sorry, I'm just making sure. I want to make sure that you're going to get back to your things. How are you funded, and how do you measure impact?
Impact, I would say, is like for us, it was for 1 year. We want to see 100 founders who go through one stage to next. So, for example, for the repeat founders who are figuring out their next steps, it's through how many of them incorporated a new startup.
Okay.
For the existing full-time founders, it's like if they go to next stage of their life. So, a new
Right.
client or like new investment.
So basically, not failing means you've created
Yes.
some resilience somehow.
So that's
Yeah.
very business type of metrics for them. So for now, like just from repeat founders, we had 5 startups being created. And for other existing founders, things have been going on.
Right.
The second has been more internal. So for example, do they find co-founders through activities that we have been doing?
Right.
Do they find employees through the activities that we have been doing? Was there a storytelling shift for when they came and when they left? And engagement. So like how many of them are sticking through the different things? And it's a big thing for us that we have been running something on a monthly basis, and almost all of them who started has been coming monthly basis.
Yeah.
And not only they come monthly basis, if it doesn't happen, we start receiving messages out of desperation
Right.
that like, what's happening? When is it happening?
Yeah.
And we see them being themselves and them being those people going around and telling people that, hey, this is what I'm part of. You should be part of it.
Right.
So
And how are you funded? Like how?
in terms of funding, as of now, we don't have a direct funding for these programs.
Okay.
We have been doing some of like corporate contracts and some of the activities,
Right.
and we have been able to
Use that. You
Yeah.
use those proceeds to
Yeah.
invest in the founders specifically.
but our future will be more of like figuring out some sort of a membership model and mixed with some sponsorships.
Right.
It's a hard thing to have because if you're trying to not have investors and service providers
Right.
and part of the rooms,
Yes.
how do you sell it? But we are
Yeah.
working on it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'd be interested to like check in a bit to see like what happened, like how has this evolved over time. I think it's super fascinating that we've created this army of solopreneurs that then have the problem of being solopreneurs.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna get worse. It
Yeah,
feels
it's
like
going-
before it gets better,
Yeah.
which is super fascinating. You're also saying that like I might have overreached a little bit when I'm like, it's a solopreneur problem. You're like, it's not actually just a solopreneur
Yeah.
problem. You're like, it's for
It's for founders who actually have teams, because for us, we don't. It's not solopreneurs. The founders that we're working with they have teams,
yeah.
and we see that, and like more and more, I like the sense of loneliness that I'm describing is it's becoming a big problem right now. It's not like a small problem.
What do you have a sense of what might be causing that?
I think it's a cycle that an ecosystem go through. Like
Okay.
when an ecosystem becomes a bit more mature,
Yeah.
we tend to become more structured,
Right.
more institutionalized.
I see.
It helps in terms of like external image a lot, because then you're able to bring external stuff onto town. But then you need a sandwich approach. You need both. You need like people who are doing that, and you need nurturers that under, who are kind of like being those nurturers for founders. And it's also economic problem, in the sense that a lot of support organizations, they're also surviving.
Yeah.
They're in a survival mode.
Right.
So when you're in a survival mode and your role is to provide, you cannot really provide. And providing doesn't come with just like, as a mentor, most of the mentorship is not just like business mentorship.
No.
Most of the mentorship is like human mentorship.
Yes.
But if your bucket is empty, you're not able to give that to founders. So if nowadays like people are going to events or activities or things, like you see a trend, like now there is a trend of smaller activities more, because people are looking for connection. I would say connection is the better fit, which is like connection is missing. Like a sense of connection is missing.
And you think like with companies that have multiple humans in it, not just one, do you think there's like this is work? Like the sort of stereotype is, well, this is, you're a family, not really, but you're stuck together working constantly.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed. If you're working on a hard problem, you're all together constantly working.
Yeah.
But there's evolved to be a individual loneliness disconnect somehow.
I would say, like, for example, like I'm not a startup, but I'm a leader of a company, right?
Yeah.
So there are, even as a CEO or something, you cannot really be 100% transparent with your employees.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where the sense of connection come from other people who are in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
But then these days, if you don't have that moment to have that connection, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like the older founders who found that group of friends who are also entrepreneurs, they are okay. But what about the newer founders? I think it's more about the new generation of founders, not new generation as in like young people, new generation of founders who have just started a new company, who are not able to find that friendships with other entrepreneurs right now.
This is a really weird way to look at it, but do you think there's something about like, I met my wife online, and when I did online dating in 1965, we cranked up the internet. I'm just kidding. There was like, what's wrong with you that you need to online date? Was the perception. I'm a technologist. I'm like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it went for a couple of decades or so. It's been like, of course you meet somebody online. That's how you meet people. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It feels like it's now that I heard, don't tell my wife, I've heard that the trend is now, no, actually, I kind of want to meet people in real life, but it's, as we all know, very, very difficult. And I'm wondering if there's a parallel where like, if you grew up on TikTok and YouTube, YouTube's the best, grew up on TikTok and YouTube, like you've never had those connections. And now you're in a professional setting and you're like, I don't have those friendship or warm connections. And I'm looking to get it out of work. And I thought a startup would is it, but I'm not, like, I just don't know how to do it. Is that a thing, or is that a made up thing?
It's a bit of that too.
Okay.
I feel like it's definitely a bit of that, because
Rob, it's a little overwrought. It's not as simple as that. Okay.
Yeah, it's true, because it's added problem, right? Like already you're feeling it, and then now you're also hustling.
Yeah.
So like it's double the problem. Like that's why I'm saying, like, even though we're not doing something very, very different, all we are doing is like changing formats. So instead of doing like wine and cheese, we're doing
cheese and wine.
Instead of that, we're doing like
No, but this is what's so interesting about, I think the point that you're making is that the ebb and flow of an ecosystem, a tech ecosystem is what we're talking about. I'm sure it's true for other things too, but all I know is tech is it went from sort of this grassroots bottom up thing to become sort of institutionalized. And like you go to a party, but you're there to network and get investors.
Yeah.
You're not actually having a good time.
Yeah. But before you used to have a good time too.
It was and honestly, to make an authentic connection, you want to not be on.
Yeah.
But you're also like, that the person who's going to write you a check is standing right across from you.
Yeah.
So you need to wear the right clothes and look professional. And even so, there's no social events that like, let's look at this event. This is a structured event. You can do whatever you want with it. And it is probably one of the least formal kinds of events. It looks very structured, but it's the summer. People want to hang out, And then there's events afterwards, which happens in every event. But anyway, I guess all I'm trying to say is that you're in networking mode, and then you need to take a vacation from being in networking mode because you've been psychologically on, and you can't just be your authentic self because you're not really allowed to be because you need to make money. And then that seems to have, that's where we're at. There's no like, and so the gap you're filling, it would seem to me, is like, actually, this is not one of those.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on, even though that is how the machine has been structured.
I think it's two-way side things. So let's say like you're hosting a house party, right?
Yeah.
And you are the host. So as you are the host, you are the one who's creating the vibe of the event. So if people come and they're not having a good time, even if you brought like a bunch of good people, it's a bit on you as well.
Yes.
That maybe you are stressed out. Maybe you created a vibe which is like too structured. Maybe you are like too formal. So everyone who comes in your house, because it's your house, right? They will not be able to relax. So it's a bit on the host and it's a bit on the other side. Like, yes, you're constantly on the go. So you feel like maybe you don't have to. But I believe in creating those spaces that can happen. Like, for example, Ilyas is really good in creating those spaces.
Yes.
He can figure out a way to make people come and then do that. I think there is some actions that are used to be very Montreal thing. Now we don't see. It's like experiential stuff. So I was just talking to someone. He's like, people think if you bring a bunch of people together, that's it. They're going to have a good time. But a simple trick, which is like, if you bring a bunch of geeks to come together, they will not talk. Yeah. But if you make them solve a random stupid problem, they will become friends just because of that.
Right.
Even if you just tell them how much pebbles are there in this thing, out of the discussion around that, they will become friends. But that element is extra thought of an experience.
Right.
And that cannot be done if you're not thinking about those things. If you're thinking to impress people on like who's your guest, who's your VCs, who your things, then you're forgetting about the people who are supposed to have that part. Yeah. I think there is one of this. And the second, like, it's strange to say, it's a very weird feeling. And I can like maybe ask me 1 year after if my feeling was right.
Oh, I will.
But 2019, I came to 2018 actually. No, 2019. I came to Montreal for the first time. And what I liked from Toronto to Montreal, because I used to live in Toronto, was how human everything was in Montreal. Strangely enough, I feel Toronto is doing more around that right now to create more humanly startup ecosystems. Right. And Montreal is becoming more maturer in terms of professional stuff.
Right.
So as someone who moved and chose this as home, it's this feeling like, why are we, like, I think there is a balance to be both, and maybe that's just how the cycles of ecosystem works. Like after it matures up, it will realize what's missing and it will come back. But we are definitely there where we are maturing up, but we are losing the soil and the soul. So I would say it's not 100% just on like geopolitics or economics and this and that. It's also like a bit on founders. And I think it's a responsibility of support organization, including like organizations like Elantech, to realize the world is hard right now. The founders in Montreal are multidisciplinary founders. When things are happening in different countries, they're going through hardships too. So yes, there is business, but business is for them. But your business is them. So if your business is them and you're not even thinking about them, then you're just going to lose them after some time, and you lose the trust, and you will just have a transactional relationship. And that's not how ecosystems works. Like, we need to find a way for them to feel they're part of it and not just like getting something and leaving.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
If people want to find out more about Elantech, where do they go?
On the website, and also directly reaching out to us on LinkedIn. Elantech.co.
Thank you.
So I think between different activities to different programs, they can join us, like our sports and the monthly build days, the AI build days that are open for everyone. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my newsletter in the description below, and see you next time.